Hey everybody, welcome back to Money and Music. I am Doc. Today we're going to be listening to some heavy hitters in the finance and music industry.
If you can buy a soda, you can invest.
We own hip hop, but we don't own rap music.
What's the cliche statement? If you hang around 5 rich people, you'll be the 6th.
I listen to his music because he's talking about, hey, how much farther he wants to go.
And I tell people in my business, I turn dreamers into doers.
Welcome back to Money and Music. I am your host, Doc Fuller, and today we have a nonprofit founder I'm very excited about. I mentioned to him on our other episode of the FLY Academy Group. FLY standing for Financial Literacy for Kids. We have Phil Pleasant. Phil, welcome to the show, bro.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah. Phil, we go way back, man. It's like we always have these conversations, Phil. So, I mean, let me just start with this. So tell me a little bit more about your nonprofit and how did you even get there to start it?
Right. Man, it's been a thing in the making for over, I would say 12 years, you know, where when I was in college, when I graduated from college, I went into corporate America. I'm like second generation, you know, actually graduating from college and actually going into the corporate field. And so I didn't understand about, you know, you think about your first day, right? Your first day at work, you got to learn about 401ks, pensions and disability insurance, all that. I had no clue how to do any of that.
Same here, because I mean, if your parents didn't teach you, right?
Right. How you know? So I didn't know any of that. I didn't have friends that understood that, but I sat down, I learned, I started to use my resources as best as I could, and I tried to find out how to take care of that. But what I learned from that experience is that there's a lot of people behind me that don't understand this, right? And as I've learned in my journey through financial literacy throughout the last 10, 15 years, you know, I've made decisions that sometimes I didn't make the right decision, but most of the time I've been winning, really. You know what I mean? I've been winning at, you know, getting better at finance, right? So I wanted to take all the knowledge that I've learned and give it back to the generations that are behind me. Especially, you know, for me is when I had my kid, you know, 7 years ago, that changed my life. You know what I mean? So now I have to leave a legacy for him. So one of the things that I talk about is, you know, I do workshops online, right? So these workshops for me, it's like giving something for my kid generations from now. I may be here, I may not be here when he's 20, 30, 40 years old, right? So now he can look back and say, what would dad do in this situation? How would dad buy a car? You know what I mean? When I'm ready to buy my car, because I never had that growing up as a kid. I didn't have no father. I didn't have a father who taught me those things. So that's why the FLY group got started.
Based on look what you got on right now, man. You stay fly. So FLY group, you rocking FLY stuff on right now. I see you with the Hustle Gang t-shirt on.
Yeah, you know, I got to make sure I give T.I., he came to the workshop that we were doing online, man. Definitely love what he's doing. So I wanted to represent for him too as well. Yeah,
so when you talk about financial literacy, like why do you feel like a program like yours is needed and why aren't they teaching it in school?
Man, I think, that's a great question. And a lot of people ask this question, right? Why aren't they teaching financial literacy in school? We spend not even, you know, they don't teach it in high school, which is public school. But when we get to private school and we're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, we should definitely be learning how to take care of our money, right? And we don't teach it. So to me, there's really 3 reasons why they're not teaching it. People don't know how to teach it, which is a shame because you can literally go online, especially with, you know, the internet now. You can go online, you can learn to get certifications, things like that. And I think the other reason is, but if you look these up, you know, the other reason is that the families are not able to teach because a lot of the literacy and anything, you know, education-wise, your parents teach you to help you do your homework. Right. But if they don't understand, they can't teach, right? Right. And then there's a lot of people there's conspiracy out there too that it's vested. People have a vested interest not to teach you. Our generation, not even our generation, but I feel like even, you know, people that are underserved are always pointed in the direction of having bad financial information or being in bad financial products, right? And so the reason why we do that is because we don't know, right? And just like, you know, you have said on this show before, right? Right. You know, what you don't know, you're gonna pay for, right? And so that's why financial literacy, I feel sometimes that it's not that they trying to keep it out, but they're not gonna have a vested interest to put that money, the late fees. Think about that. Billions of dollars going to late fees every day just from checking account, right? Because they don't know. Yeah. So that's
or late payments with your credit cards.
Anything, man. Just bad credit, getting bad interest rates, all of that. is for the business, right?
Right.
Now, are they going to put money into your pocket to help you learn not to do that and give them money? No, but that's some things that some people say about financial literacy and why it's not taught. But that's why we want to change that, right, with our organization.
So what specific things are you teaching the youth in your program?
Well, I mean, it's actually a lot of foundational stuff,
Okay.
right? Because as you said, right, I'm still a learner as myself, right?
Yeah.
But I have a lot of experience, right? And so what we're teaching is just about basic banking, accounting, getting into learning about the stock market, right? And we do this through games, right? We'll just run games monthly, and we have the kids compete for either like a Madden challenge, right? We'll have depending on what group we're talking about, because we didn't actually talk about that, but one of the things that the kid that our organization is differentiate ourselves about is that we have fly kids, fly teens, and fly grads, and that what that means is we break down our content, right, by having different age groups, right? So if I'm going to teach a 5-year-old
Right.
or kindergarten about money or about investing, I got to teach them different than I would teach an 18-year-old, right? So those are a breakdown of our nonprofit organization, so we can teach them in there and meet them where they are.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So when you're doing outreach in the community and you're trying to find these kids, meeting them where they are, certainly you're going to be looking at different underserved communities, like you mentioned. How do you actually reach those underserved communities?
Man, the internet and social media right now, and one of the best things you can do, right, is you want to change. I feel like generationally, we need to change people's news feeds, because I've learned over the last 10 years, right, that my news feed for social media changes based off of what I look at on the internet.
Okay.
Right. And so, and things that you're interested in. Right. So, right, like 10 years ago, I went to social media and I'm looking up cats and funny things and funny clips. Right. And that was my news feed. You know what I mean? And it wasn't, not that it was unhealthy, right, but it wasn't good for me.
It wasn't feeding you.
It wasn't feeding me, right?
Yeah.
And so now that I'm in investing, now that I'm in financial literacy, my news feed changes. And I want to change news feeds for the younger generation, right? And so you're going to get some funny things and some music clips, things like that. But I also want you to learn, hey, investing, right? Savings. You got rappers that are talking about this too, right? This is why, money and music is a perfect combination, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And so speaking of music, at Money and Music, we always ask, like, are there any lyrics or artists that you're listening to that have some of these financial literacy, investing, entrepreneurship, leadership bars that you tune into?
Man, absolutely, man. It's a lot. I mean, Nip definitely got a whole bunch.
Nip was killing it.
He was killing
He was
it,
doing his thing.
and it wasn't like it was kind of like coded sometimes too. But it was, and if you really listen to him, you know what I mean. What he was talking about is generational wealth and generational prosperity, right?
Right.
And bringing his people up. But the one that always sticks with me is Jay-Z. He says that, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
let me
So,
handle my
Hey,
business.
you got to handle your business, right? But
Right.
but not even handling your business, but treating yourself as a business. What I teach my kids online is that you already have a business, right? For every dollar that you own, that's an employee. How do you want your employees to work for you?
Wait, explain that one more time.
So every dollar that you have,
Okay.
right, is an employee that's going to either make you money, spend your money, or save you money. What do you want your employees to do? Now you have a business. You got $10, you got 10 employees. You got $100, you got 100 employees. What are you going to do with your money? Are you going to buy depreciable assets that's going to spend your money? Or are you going to buy things that are going to generate revenue for you? What's your return on investment? What's ROI? Like, we need to learn all of this stuff.
As a
right?
team, they need to learn it.
Not even as a man, when they're in elementary school, they could be learning that. You know this, right?
Yeah.
So and it's crazy that, even adults don't understand that concept right now. I didn't understand it years ago. You know what I mean? So it's great to watch kids kind of watch their parents watching the workshop like, I didn't know that was going on. I didn't even know the answer to that. So
Right.
we have to teach those things, man. So getting kids to understand, back to what Jay-Z, when you listen to lyrics, listening to what they're saying and how you can use that in your life. You know what I mean? Growing up without parents, I use music, to help me, strive and be successful. And I've also used TV. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we had to learn from. So making sure the things that are in your news feed, on social media, on TV, and what you listen to every day really impacts where you're going to be and having $1 million mindset.
Right. I think Kanye has some bars that he said, I didn't play the hand I was dealt. I changed my cards.
Exactly.
You know, is this like you everybody's gonna get these cards in their life. And I know, you growing up, like you
Yeah.
said, you didn't have parents, you grew up in like the foster care system,
Yep.
right? And like looking at where you are now, it's just like, I think that's really motivational and inspirational, because like, regardless of where you came from, whether it was whatever socioeconomic background or whatever your family background, I think that you can be whoever you want to be. You know?
Exactly.
Like Nas said, I know I can be where I want to be if
Yeah,
you work hard for
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now that you've grown, right? What would you tell your younger self? Like, what are the new generation? If you can go back, right?
Mm.
What have you learned that you would tell your younger self? Whether it's about
That's
leadership, purpose, everything.
That's a great question, man. I mean, there's so many things I would tell myself. There's some bad decisions that have been made in this, you know what I mean, in this journey. But I think the most important thing for me has been investing early. And I'm probably sure other people have said this on the show, but compound interest and investing early financially, and also learning from your mistakes and not getting down when you make a mistake, because you're going to fail. The only way that you can succeed, I feel like, is by falling forward, right? So sometimes you're going to fall. Don't fall backwards. Don't stay with that energy, right? You might lose a little bit of money, but if you start to trust yourself that where you're going to fall is forward and learn from those experiences,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
And not stay in that for a very long time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And continue to fall forward and learn from your financial, situation, man.
Fall forward.
Fall forward.
That's I love
Absolutely.
that. I love
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's pretty powerful. When you think about that there's no losses, just lessons. You hear people always talk about L's.
Yep.
And those L's, they're just lessons, right?
Exactly,
If you look
man.
at any business person, a lot of times they failed 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times before they actually made it. And it's those one that has that persistency and consistency, right? And so we have college kids tuned into us, young adults, adults, all ages, all
Absolutely.
countries, right?
Absolutely.
And it's just like, just knowing that persistency and consistency is key.
Yep.
Got to keep grinding.
Gotta keep. If you're not, some people believe that if you're not failing, you're not growing. Right. So you're not trying harder. You ain't even try. If you ain't pushed the limit, you ain't trying.
If you're not failing, you're not growing.
You're not growing. You know what I'm saying? You gotta grow. You gotta keep growing every time. And it's how you respond to it. Right? It's definitely how you respond to that.
So you have 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
So what do you tell your 2 boys? Like, how are you creating generational wealth, and what are you instilling in them to create that?
Yeah, so I mean, they're young right now, so we learn some basics about money. I mean, I actually perform some of my workshops for my kids
That's what's up.
before I do it.
Yeah.
For other kids, right? And so it's funny to watch them actually, Daddy, can I see the workshop again?
Right,
You know
right,
what I
right.
mean?
Get them
So that's-
excited.
Yeah, get them excited about money. But I guess one of the things that we've been doing since my kids started talking is we don't say CANT. Right. And if we do, somebody owe me 5 push-ups. Right. So
Coach
right,
Phil.
Right. Hey, right. So we've been doing that since he was, 4,
Mhm.
and both of my kids.
Right.
Right. And so now they actually catch me saying it. Right. And so that may not be, financial or, about music or anything like that. But those are some of the things that to get into either one of these, right? To make money, you got to continue to fall forward. Right. You got to put some money out there. There's nothing that you CANT do. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that they get. So we keep working on that, man. That's one of the things that I think you got to put that in your kids about persistence.
Right. And how do you imagine your nonprofit, the Fly Group, impacting the next generation outside of your own kids, right?
One of the things that I think 5 to 10 year plan for me is to have alumni kids come back and actually teach these programs. Right. So not only giving them a way to make money, right, but also teaching them that it's important to give back.
Philanthropy.
Philanthropy. You gotta be able to do that. Nobody can grow by themselves. Right. But just like Jay said, you know what I mean? We could be crabs in the barrel, right? But if we stay on each other's back and lift each other up, we get out the barrel. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what we gotta do.
Yeah.
So that's my ultimate goal, is to see kids come back and say, you know what, I want to give back to the next generation. I want to teach them what I learned.
That's dope. And like you said, you're meeting those kids where they are. You have 3 different buckets, right? Fly Kids.
For elementary and middle school kids, which is 5 to 12.
Got it.
And then I have a high school, which is Fly Teens, which is, just probably 12 to about 18 years old. And then anybody 18 and over are Fly grads. So anybody that's in college, graduated college, or a young professional, right? And so we teach them in different ways, right? Different concepts, right? The way I'm gonna teach investing to a 5-year-old, I'm gonna talk about grocery stores or toys that they have, right? Or making a lemonade stand. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're in college, you understand the stock market a little bit. You're probably on social media. So I'm gonna teach you in a way that we're gonna use those examples, right? Like GameStop, right? Having them understand why GameStop worked that way. Like why were people why did people invest so much money? Why were they playing games and meme stops, right?
Yeah.
So those type of things, you can't teach that to a kindergartner that way, right? They wouldn't understand it. So that's why we created these groups. And I think that, when you have all these kids on a call, you're able to talk to that person where they are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And even just asking questions too, man. I think the biggest thing we need to do for kids is just continuously ask questions for them and let them see that it's okay that you don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you can go look, so you can teach them to be resourceful.
Right. The more you learn, the
Absolutely.
more you earn.
Yep.
That's big fact. So Phil, you focus on all these different groups, and with me having a 22-year-old, I'm sorry, in college, what are the 3 things that she needs to know to be successful that you teach in your program?
I would say the number one thing is to do as many internships in the summertime as you can, right? When you want to learn about what you want to do as much as possible. But the most important thing that I learned is that I had to learn what I didn't want to do by getting into internships. Even if you play sports, even if you do, you got a hard schedule with academics and things like that, you want to learn about the business that you're going to be in or what you're trying to get into.
A lot of people are just trying to follow in I love this, I love it, but you need to actually also know the other side.
That's the time to learn, and you don't have a lot of, you're not going to have the debt, the financial responsibilities that you're going to have when you graduate, right? So It's going to be a lot easier. It's going to be a lot harder when you graduate to change and shift. Where in college, you can say, I'm going to do an internship here in the summertime, and then my sophomore year, I'm going to do a whole different one. Or if I love it, I'm going to keep doing it and see what's there more for me, right?
I love that.
I would say the number one thing is that.
Okay.
Another thing would just be and trying different things like that's not come out your comfort zone, right? If you've never did the ballet or you know what I mean? And this is all for finance too, because you have to learn, different options of stock. For me, like I had to learn about different companies. And so if I keep on staying in my own box, I don't know about, certain other industries that are going on. So I want you to do it in college too, just not being afraid to try something that you're not comfortable with.
Being
Right. comfortable
with being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly, man.
Okay. I love it. So I think though you dropped some major bars, man. I'm still learning from you, Phil, bro. Coach
Hey,
Phil,
we learn together, man.
the same way you had your 2 boys doing push-ups, the saying CANT is the same thing that I think for the people around you, right?
Yeah.
Is like I think you are a master at pushing people to grow beyond themselves.
I appreciate that,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Yeah,
So,
man. You too, brother.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming, man. I'm looking forward to hearing all of the great things that the Fly Group is doing out in the community, and you and yourself and the family as well. So thanks for
Absolutely.
coming down, bro.
Hey, man. Love being here, man. Congratulations on Money and Music, man. Can't wait to see this thing grow.
Yes, indeed.
All
Thank
right,
you.
man.